When you grow up in an abusive family or a hyper-religious family, you may not be a person that ever gets to experience jealousy and envy because it's something that you're going to be penalized for if you show any emotions. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I'm going to respond to this commenter here who says religious factors and upbringing are at play a lot of times, to be honest, because when you showcase such emotions, you can get punished or gaslit. And I feel like this is something that is so true and not talked about. And a lot of times when you're in a family where they don't allow you to be autonomous, they don't allow you to be your own individual. It's very rigid, very structured. You have to follow the rules, or there's one person, controlling the atmosphere of the home. You have to do as they say, not do as they do. You don't get the luxury of, being jealous or envious all the time. And I say all the time because I know someone's going to come in and say, well, my family is very jealous and very envious. That is sometimes in toxic families, but not all the time. A lot of times, and I've worked with a ton of people like this, where they grew up being so abused and so mistreated, so neglected, or just in a household that was very domineering and ran by keeping them in fear, that these people now, they don't have any emotional expressions. Or sometimes I'll have people where their emotional affect doesn't match with what they express on their face. So, for example, it's not uncommon for a person with extensive trauma to be talking about their trauma, but be smiling and laughing and have no idea that they're doing that, or feel like they can't control it. And that is because, you have to walk on eggshells. You have to, your abuser can't sense that you have any sort of feelings, any sort of animosity, or any sort of anything, because it takes away from them. And they want you the way that they want you. And not to mention, if you grow up in a super religious family, you can be punished for it under the word of God. And, you're going to get punished, but you're also going to get, I forget what you call it, but you're going to get preached at with spiritual literature to keep you back in line. And, so you may get extra discipline, but you're also going to be forced to do some sort of spiritual punishment, which is literature, writing, reading, anything with literature in church, in the Bible. A lot of abusers consider themselves holier than thou, to be, God's, messenger, but really they're taking the word of God to inflict further abuse. And so when you grow up in a home that's emotionally hostile, physically hostile, abusive, sexually abusive, all of the abusiveness, you may not get to be the person that controls your emotions. In fact, you may not get to have any emotions at all. You don't get to have a voice. You don't get to have an identity. Everything is stripped from you. You're supposed to be a follower, never ever a leader. Not everybody gets to experience every emotion. Thank you so much for this.